Fredrik, tell us, what's your favorite track off of Pale Communion?
I kind of like them all because they're very different from one each other, I think. Every song. But my instant favorite, my first favorite was Moon Above, Sun Below. It kind of reminds me, it's the longest song on the album, and it has a solo, since I'm a guitar nerd, that I spent quite a long time to come up with. And but also I like the fact that it has many different sections and riffs. It reminds me a bit of some older Opeth type of song structure.
Yeah, very dynamic.
Yeah.
Crazy solo. Can you break it down for us? You know, the scales you used and...
Well, it's like over a E minor chord and a mad 9 chord, something like that, or D mad 9. So I like to experiment with modes, try to not only playing Aeolian scale or something like that, trying to sneak in Dorian or maybe sometimes whole tone scale. And
cool.
It interests me to experiment with modes.
And were you more vocally involved in this album?
Yeah, actually for the first time me and Joakim sang a bit of backing vocals.
Yeah.
Since we do it a lot live, Michael thought it was an interesting idea to bring in some more voices. Usually he does all of the voices himself. But Steve Wilson is also singing backing track on song River in a section as well.
But ever since you joined Since Watershed, you've been steadily being utilized more and more as a throat as well, even on
now it's even more, especially with the new songs like Eternal Rains Will Come that we will play tonight. It's 3-part harmony, all the verses and some of the bridges. So it's fun. It's probably the biggest challenge especially to play and sing at the same time, which Michael is extremely good at. It's kind of a split brain thing sometimes if the riff goes in a different time signature than the vocal melody. It takes some practice before you nail it.
So you had to have a little bit of adjusting when you came into Opeth, even with your guitar playing, it changed a little bit, or was more influenced?
I had to, learn Michael's way of playing, his style, because he has a very unique way of writing riffs, and his time, the way he thinks with the beat is a bit odd than the average, or than probably somebody else would do.
Yeah.
And also the acoustic part of the guitar playing.
Yeah.
Just with Opeth, it has a lot of different type of guitar playing in it. It's kind of broad. It has everything from metal playing, sort of speaking, and hard rock, prog rock, and even more a lot of acoustic stuff as well.
Extremely diverse.
So it's very diverse, and that's fun. It's a challenge.
Yeah. Back when you joined, did you see Opeth taking this turn or departure from death metal?
No, because I joined before in the writing process of Watershed, and that still had the screaming vocals and a lot of pretty extreme stuff in it. Even though it was a different album from Ghost Reveries, for example, but in a way I also think those two albums are a bit connected, like Heritage and Pale Communion as well.
Yeah.
So I got to do the death metal thing before the change.
Yeah.
And but when we took that decision to change it up a bit on Heritage, it took me a while to get used to that thought.
Yeah.
But I think it was a cool thing that we did that, because it's kind of bold.
Yeah.
Not many bands can experiment as much as we do, and we're a bit fortunate in that way.
Yeah, it made a huge splash when it came out. But when Pale Communion came out, it didn't make as big a splash because I think the fan base was already used to this new direction that is still very much Opeth.
Yeah, but it's maybe some people think that we turn our backs to the more extreme metal, but we haven't, because if you go see us live, we still it's a big part of Opeth sound. It's still 9 albums with those elements in it. Mm. So the set list we play tonight is quite brutal.
Yeah.
And Michael's death voice it's even more evil now. So we like to play it, Yeah. It's not about that. It's just about, on the creative side, especially Michael, who's the main writer, wants to do something different. He hates the idea of repeating himself. Yeah. And I think he kind of took the extreme metal thing to what he thought a peak for a while, and the band needed to do something different to
take it in a new direction.
Yeah.
And Ritchie Blackmoore has been a huge influence on you. You've been hearing more the rainbow sound in a way.
Yeah, especially some riffs you can definitely hear like the early Rainbow era with Ronnie Dio,
Yeah.
the type of more oriental
Yeah.
type of riffs. Like the second track on the Pale Communion, Cusp of Eternity we
Yes.
played tonight, it has a bit of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up with, so I love that stuff.
Have you had the chance to meet Ritchie Blackmoore?
No, never.
No.
I never met anybody from the original or the Mark II lineup.
Yeah. Speaking of idols or major influences, through your career, had you had the chance to meet some of your major guitar or metal idols or just rock idols?
Yeah, I mean, I had a few. I had a band called Southpaw back in '98
Yeah.
with Matt Slevin on vocals, and we did 4 shows opening up for Dio in Sweden. Closest one to Uppsala was Gävle. We played there,
Yeah.
and I got to hang out with Ronnie Dio like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Even we sat, had a couple of beers and just talked, and it was really cool.
Just
He was
chill.
such a very nice person.
Yeah.
And I also met Tony Iommi once, and that was big.
Oh, wow. We heard earlier days you quit school to work and make enough money to get an amp or to get some more gear.
Yeah.
Can you take us back to that time? What was going on through your mind? What you felt you wanted to do with this move?
I started to get quite obsessed with the guitar when I was about 14, 8th grade and 9th grade. I wasn't in school that much. I was there to get okay graduation, enough. But I started playing a lot, like 7-8 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I told my dad I didn't want to go to the high school because I'm totally obsessed by this guitar thing. And he was like, okay, you can do your thing, but if nothing happens until you're 18, you have to study.
Yeah.
But when I was 19, I got the gig with a band called Talisman. So I was like, I barely made it.
Proved it to them.
Yeah, so sometimes it probably would have been good for me to study more, but
But
I'm happy that I took that decision then. But I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, maybe.
Yeah. It's not for everyone. But seeing how things fared out today, it's we're very glad you didn't finish school.
I would have probably practiced a lot even, but I went to school a bit after, a music school for a year, like rockmusikerlinjen.
Rocklinjen, yeah.
And that's where I met Joakim Svalberg, who's playing with us now.
Okay.
He was in that class too.
And how's UK dealing with the band since he's the newest member?
He's really good. He's a very ambitious guy. He practices a lot. So, and he has on the new album. There's a lot of difficult parts to play.
Yeah.
And he is very true to the original writings. He wants to do everything, and no cheating.
Yeah.
And I mean, he has double mellotrons, Hammond organ, mini Moog. So it's going the whole
shebang.
The whole 9 yards, old school way with a Leslie cabinet and everything.
Beautiful.
So it's very cool, and it makes a sound difference. And also on this tour, we kind of developed the guitar side a bit because there's so many acoustic parts with Opeth. So we started using these piezo pickups. So we have 2 outlets from the guitar. So I can change the pedal, the patch, and I suddenly get an acoustic sound that's very close to the real deal.
Beautiful.
And it works great for the new stuff, but also with like songs from the second album. There's acoustic parts, and it gets much more atmospheric with these piezo stuff instead of a clean electric tone.
And it's probably still too early to talk about what's next for Opeth or when the next album is being written, but you guys have set a date for a 25th anniversary.
Yes.
Coming up in London. Can you shed some light on that for us?
Yeah, well, it's a 25 years anniversary. We haven't really discussed what to do, if we're going to film it or something, but I think we're going to look at, it's not just that show. Because last time we did it, we did Stockholm and one show in France and one in Germany and Los Angeles and New York as well. So it might be something like that. It's not just going to be that show, but maybe 6-7 shows.
And we heard when it comes to food, you're an insatiable beast. How do you deal with that on tour?
What did you say? What's the word?
Insatiable beast, can't get enough.
Oh,
you have a huge appetite.
No, not really. I don't. It's not like I'm overeating, but I try to. It's difficult on tour because I always try to lose weight, try to exercise, and late hours. When you have this pile with pizzas on the tour bus and drinking beer, it's not good for you. But I'm interested in food, like cooking food and stuff. But it's not like somebody feeds me or something.
Are we gonna see?
I'm not a feeder victim, but but I like my favorite's really spicy food, like Indish vindaloo, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Pretty extreme food.
We noticed something back in the day when you first joined Opeth, that on the website they mistakenly said that Chris Amott was joining the band, and they had Chris's picture by mistake. So we wondered what happened there. Then they changed it to your picture. Was it did Chris also audition or something to fill in for Peter?
He never, because about the time when I joined Opeth, he went back to Arch Enemy. Yeah. Because I played with Arch Enemy, and Chris wanted to come back because he left Arch Enemy because he wanted to start to study. And then he changed his mind after 1.5 years. And he wanted to come back, and I totally understood it because they're brothers and they started that band, so it's fine. Yeah. And then Mike called me a couple of months after, so I think there was never any audition with Chris. Yeah.
How did you and Mike first meet?
He saw me play at Pub Anchor in Stockholm. I was playing Judas Priest and King Diamond covers and Dio covers and Ozzy and stuff like that. And he came up to me and said he liked my playing, and he heard some stuff from I play with Crooks, the doom metal band, with Leif from Candlemass. So he was talking about he wanted us to jam someday. But then I saw him a few years after when we were on the same tour in America, 2006, with Megadeth, Gigantor. So that's the time when we kind of bonded more, hanged out more, and I almost spent more time in the Opeth tour bus than the Arch Enemy bus. I don't know why, but that's just the way it turned out. So we kind of became friends, and after that, before I was asked to join, he asked me over to his house and finally do that jam we talked about 3 years back or something. And he showed me the Deliverance riff. So I think he wanted to find out if I could play it, because that was one of his more complex riffs, you know. So I think I made it. I played it, and I showed him some technique stuff, you know. Yeah. So that was like a secret audition in a way, I think.
Beautiful. Was it going to be a special set list for the hometown show, or just like the ones you played in Europe?
It's the one we played in Europe. We think it's a good set list. We try to play one song from every album. Yeah. But of course, we want to play a bit more from the latest. So we're playing 3 songs from the new one, and we don't have enough time to play anything from the first, so we had to take that out. But you never know. It's when it comes to what Michael does on stage, it's never planned. Yeah. So it could be some. You never really know what's going to happen, because he's a bit like a stand-up comedian sometimes, and you never know what kind of silly stuff will appear.
Crossing our fingers for some pleasant surprises then.
Yeah.
And good luck with the show. Thank you so much for having us.
My pleasure.
Cool.